Hello citizens and welcome back. What a week! First, CIG dropped the new flight blades and weapon kits and it looked like a blatant cash grab. Then the community and the content creators exploded and people feared that the game had finally gone full pay to win. But a day later, CIG reversed their decision. The flight blades and weapon kits will be available in-game with the next monthly patch in June, and all future kits will be available in-game day 1. So what happened? Was this always the plan? Or are we watching the start of a bigger trend? Let's dive right in. Let's start with what was behind this outrage and turn of events. Invictus Launch Week introduced the first set of computer blades for our ships. And while it wasn't the greatly anticipated AI blades, the backers were happy anyway. The new flight blades allow the user to do one of two things. They can slightly increase the speed of the ship or slightly increase the maneuverability. On paper, this is a great addition to the game as it gives players another way to fine-tune their ships. On top of this, CIG also introduced new weapon options for several ships and bomb racks, which can be fitted to any ship that has the required hardpoint, allowing it to carry bombs, which is once again a great addition to the game. However, it was the delivery that sparked universal outrage. All of these new items would only be available through the pledge store for real money, and they would be added to in-game stores or loot pools in the next major patch in 3 months. This created major concerns over Star Citizen becoming pay to win and would appear to be a major change in the monetization strategy of the game. Thousands have taken to Spectrum and other social media to call out this decision, and even the most positive content creators have spoken out against this. So how did CIG react and why was everyone angry? Before we answer that, I would like to give a quick shout out to my patrons and channel members for their support of the channel and everything else I do. Now back to the video. Now, I think there are 3 main reasons why this decision was received the way it was. First of all, flight blades make your ship measurably better than the stock version. So, in a situation where you have 2 ace pilots flying a Gladius with the meta loadout, the one with the flight blade installed will have an advantage. And that advantage is locked behind a real money payment. And even though that's temporary, and the blades will eventually be available in-game, this still creates a pay-to-win situation, where one of the sides has no choice but to spend money if they want to compete. You could argue that this problem will only be apparent in the top tiers of PvP encounters. And while you are not wrong, it doesn't change the fact that you can buy an advantage with real money. I would also like to extend this by saying that in this initial rollout, flight blades are only available to a small selection of ships and every blade kit is ship specific. So if you want to use a blade on multiple ships, you have to buy multiple kits. And many people see this as unfair since not all ships are included. And personally, as a developer, this really grinds my gears, because CIG now have to maintain 2 blades for every ship that has one, and they have to add 2 more for every ship that gets one in the future. And they have to add even more blades if they decide to add more blade types or tiers of blades, which is so ineffective and it clogs up so much database space. In my opinion, flight blades should have been a generic item set, split into types based on what they do, and every blade should be compatible with every ship, but maybe it can have different effects. For example, the top speed increase blade will increase the top speed of a Gladius by 5%, but only by 1% for the Polaris. The specifics don't matter now, but in the future blades will either grow into an unsustainable mess or require a major refactor to be maintainable. The weapon kits have a similar problem. They provide weapons that are not available in-game, which may or may not be better than what's currently available. And for a time, they will only be available in the pledge store. And the same can be said about the bomb rack kits, except that keeping those as a pledge store exclusive even for a time, essentially locks a whole line of ship customization behind a paywall. The other problem is that offering any kind of a weapon or a component both in the game and in the pledge store invalidates any kind of in-game progression. Like, what does it matter if I spend hours getting reputation and materials to earn a blueprint to fabricate the new missile turret for the Scorpius if some other guy paid $15 in the pledge store for it instead? Now, obviously what you do with your money is not my problem, but it definitely gives the impression that CAG think player progress is not important. And finally, many people in the community see this as yet another step in the wrong direction in terms of the monetization strategy of Star Citizen. We were okay with ship paints, as those are fully cosmetic, even though we were promised full customization sometime in the future. We were sort of okay with patch bundles too, as those are also mostly cosmetic. But selling ship components and weapons is a step too far. It could set a very dangerous precedent, where everything in the game becomes monetized, which could include even entire features like base building or access to star systems. As players, we obviously don't want that. Now, how did CAG react to the general outrage of the community across all platforms? Well, we got 24 hours of very loud silence, followed by a short announcement. CAG have noticed the reaction of the community and will implement some changes. In the future, any similar pledge store items will be available in-game the moment they go on sale for real money. However, for the recently released flight blades and weapon kits, it is too late to do so. So they'll be added into the game shops and loot pools with the next monthly patch in June. But the announcement contained very little in the way of admitting a mistake, and it even contains a hint at future plans for similar pledge store items, which in my eyes and the eyes of many other backers hints at a major shift in how Star Citizen wants to raise funds. And at the same time, it doesn't address the problem of progress being meaningless if the same items are available in the pledge store. And while I understand the need for the project to raise money, I don't think this is the way. Star Citizen as a project survives on the faith and goodwill of the backers. It is unwise to spend that when we are seemingly years from a full release. The other, far worse possibility is that this was all a test. A test of how far CAG can go with monetization before the community gets angry. If this is the case, then someone from the senior leadership needs to step in and stop it. I think, judging from the reaction of the community, this is where we draw the line. I am generally very concerned that this idea of selling flight blades and weapon kits has even been approved in the first place, let alone that it was formed into a plan and published to the backers, with the expectation that more sales like this are going to happen. Over the last few years, with increasing frequency, I've seen people say that marketing and sales control the direction of the game, and unfortunately it appears to be more and more true. The fix CAG proposed does not in fact fix the real issue. Removing flight blades and weapon kits from the store and never selling them again would. However, now it's too late to reverse those sales. The best we can really hope for is that CAG learn from this experience and that some changes are going to happen at the management level. Otherwise, I think we can expect more of the community being angry and more players leaving the game. And with that being said, that's all for today. What do you think? Should CAG keep adding weapons and kits to the pledge store? Is this the start of a new, heavily monetized period in Star Citizen's development? Let me know in the comments. As always, if you like this video, sacrifice a like and a comment to the YouTube algorithm and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, fly safe, and I will see you in the verse.